5/8. Oh, great. That's awesome. The spacers are in the way. I can't get the socket on it. Come on now. What the heck? How is this not 5/8? We did. It is not 5/8. What did I have? 11/16. Not 5/8. I don't know if I can get this over the wrench or not.
Hey Ron,
Yeah.
do you have some kind of a stand that we can sit the polar bear on over here in the corner? I was talking to Dad. That metal bench.
I'm going to leave this on here and spray it. This is medium sand 30 grit quick crease. Brand new bucket. Data on, or yeah. Does this work?
Are we not going to do the Santa Claus thing then?
Oh, it just goes on the spray nozzle. Okay. Needs a little tightening. So it just goes on here. This
Now,
goes in there. All right. Here we go. looking pretty good. That thing does a great job for 30 bucks. Look at if you can make that out on the camera or not. I mean, look at these nuts. They're copper. I had no idea. You could see kind of a difference in that, I think, even on the camera. So I got these other parts stacked up here now. Even though I spent a few hours wire brushing, I'm now going to hit them with this awesome sandblaster. Once I want to get the. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! You can't get in there. Need another 11/16 flat wrench. I spent about 30 minutes trying to dig that out. That is serious. I mean, really. Like chipping, like carving Mount Rushmore. This thing, I mean, that's grease and dirt right there. Amazing. Pretty close to a whole bag. But I did some work. Hey, look at this stuff. This is amazing. This is wow. I mean, what is that? It's like resin. It's like fiberglass resin or something. That stuff, and this has got rocks bedded in it. That is amazing. No kidding, you could build battleships out of this stuff. Literally chiseling it out of here. Well, that was fun. It's 6 a.m. about the morning after doing the sandblasting, and it's about 38 degrees, so I'm just out here having my coffee, looking over some of the results of the sandblasting, and I think that went really well. That vinegar helped a lot with the flash rust. There's very little flash rust on this or any of the frame parts and stuff that I did. This obviously has a ways to go. There's a lot really that I didn't get on it, but the small parts are definitely harder. Just sitting there, it tends to want to get blown off with the pressure. So I think I have an idea on what to do with that, and I'll give it a try. But yeah, spraying vinegar on it seems to help. I don't know if anybody's tried that before, but I say give it a go. And you know, I'm going to be putting a rust converter on it anyway, so not going to be a big deal there, I don't think. Main thing was to get all the crud off and that slightly deeper layer of rust. Flash rust isn't going to be anything. Yeah, so lots of stuff still to do. That was just more or less, it was just to test it out and see how good that thing would work, because I still have a lot of parts to take off of that, as you probably noticed. I got all the steering stuff to pull off of it, and most of that's getting replaced, so it didn't really make a lot of sense to be blasting it, but yeah, make it a little easier, get the bolts without having an inch or two layer of grease on it, and call that the first pass. The next pass on everything should pretty well clean it up and be ready for paint. And I say the little parts still need some work. I got to do the hub. I'm not going to do it with the blaster because I don't want all of that crud getting in there. I'll show you this part right here. Hopefully you can see that ceramic nozzle is what everyone complains about on these cheap blasters, is what goes wears out pretty quick. This one went through almost, I'd say about 85% of that 100-pound bag of sand went through it, and it looks perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. One thing I would say, one of the I don't know if it was in the instructions or just one of the videos I watched, but elevate the sand, bucket of sand, and I put it up on some sawhorses, and make sure the hose and the feeder is on top when you're using the blaster or using the spray nozzle, spray gun. And I didn't have any problem. So two things that were people complain about was water going up the feed tube and getting the sand wet, so it didn't feed. I had no problems with feeding. Thing fed perfectly. Of course, you got your bucket and it sucks the sand down, and once you get down low, you're constantly having to move this sand around to keep it in there. But that was fine. It worked doing that, and no water in the sand. Probably somewhat to one of the reasons to have it elevated, and then nothing going back up the feed tube. So no problems. That thing worked great. It tore that stuff off of there. I'm very impressed with it. Very impressed. It was $30 and well worth every penny of it. I got, like I say, that was just really mostly just tested out, but it was a good start anyway, getting things going. So I got to do a lot of pulling parts off of it. I still got to get the steering box, all the steering stuff, and all that's getting replaced. Tie rod ends, both inner and outer, and the sleeve, and then the shaft. The steering shaft's the only thing that's going back on there. Everything else is going to be new for that. A little bit nervous about the lower control arm because the torsion bar is also attached to that. And main thing is, I was a tank driver in the Army, and messed with torsion bars. Did replace one time. That was a couple of days worth of misery. But this thing doesn't appear to have any real preload on it, that control arm, when it's just completely all the way down. I think it's still resting on a piece of wood that I got the whole thing sitting on. The jack stands in this piece of wood, and it's resting on that. The torsion bar is resting on that piece of wood, so I can't tell for sure, but I don't think there's going to be any preload once it's completely all the way down, and that's going to be the main thing. Not having to worry about if that's the case. Hopefully that is the case. And that part's not so big a deal. I know it's going to be a pain to get that bolt out of the rear part of the torsion bar, because it's bound to be torqued on pretty good, and it's getting rusted now too. But the main problem with that is that's permanently attached to the control arm. So when I go to replace the bushings, put the bushings back in. What I seen on lower control arms, the upper control arms, you can turn them. They turn on, and they're a pain, but they're not a big deal. But the lower control arms, they got to be pressed on, and there's some tricks, I guess, to use a vise. I have an arbor press is all I got, and there's not enough throw in that to get it in even without the torsion bar on it. But with the torsion bar, that's gonna be something else to work with for sure. But it can be done. It has to be able to be done. So I got the manual. I'll use the manual, try and figure it out. I haven't seen anybody. I saw somebody who had that same setup, and I saw them take it off, but I didn't see. They didn't have any videos of what they did as far as the shaft and bushings and stuff. I'm still struggling with parts. I have made a spreadsheet with the list of parts and then all the suppliers that I found so far that have parts, and it's kind of dotted all over the place of which one has which part. So shipping's going to be a bear because it's going to be from at least 5 different suppliers so far, and there's some stuff that I question since I bought the upper control arm shaft and it was the wrong one. Now that's what I'm worried about with everything. I'm not going to just order parts anymore online. I'm going to call and say, look, this is what I got, and I got to make sure. I don't want to be constantly ordering and reshipping parts back. Anyways, that's how that's going. I'm pretty well wore out. My back's killing me. I'm old and in a lot of pain in general anyway, and yesterday was a heck of a long day. Started at 4:30. I got up and went and chased birds around the desert, and then I did all that stuff, and the end of the day with washing the old bird and helping my son wash his Mustang. This is the bird, by the way. She's shiny. For those of you who don't know, I have that. And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing all that work out there. But main reason is obviously I couldn't be sandblasting anything up here or in the shop. It's pretty dirty work, and so all that's got to be done over there anyway. I like where I got it. It's perfect for all of that misery. Anyways, I'm going to keep going on that. I'm pretty close to getting where I could paint. I didn't want to, you got to throw the paintbrush away, and I know you can get some cheap ones, but I didn't want to just go through a bunch of paint brushes, just brushing, painting each one at a time. So I'm going to finish cleaning up just this pile, pretty much the stuff from the driver's side. I don't know if I'll get the lower control arm as part of that first group of painting, or if it's just going to be what I've got off of it so far. But I'll get those cleaned up, and that'll probably be the next video is going to be. I don't know what I'm going to do with this upper control arm. I'm going to use my arbor press to try and press these rivets the rest of the way out. I'm hoping that they'll pop out using that fairly simple, easily. I don't see how anything's gonna be easy, but I'm gonna try it. Otherwise, I guess I gotta grind the other side. I don't know. It's pain in the butt. But anyways, and then I gotta clean it up. I might do the video of trying to press those out just to see, if it is of use for anybody. And then clean those up and wire brush, so I won't be doing any videos of that anymore. And then so the next video primarily, other than maybe popping these rivets out, will be of actually painting it, and that'll be the first of that restoration part. And I got, like I say, parts. Got to get the upper and lower ball joints and the bushings, at least, if not the shaft and bushings for the control arms. And I got to get the steering box off. That's going to be another video. Not real sure how far I'm going to go with that. I know I need new seals and stuff for it, so Doesn't need rebuilt, I wouldn't say. I don't know what that would entail if it did, but it was working perfectly good. There wasn't any problems with it, but you know it does leak like a sieve, like everything else. So I do want to seal it up, and so I'll do that. Clear some workbench space, and give that a go. That'll be another video as well. And so that's about it for this run. I'll get this edited up and loaded up, and we'll move on to the next one.